Welcome back to the Daily Edge special edition. It's that time of year. Prairie on Fire is coming around next weekend.
Yeah, September 12th.
So we are, this is one of TJ's two races. It's massive. There's so much going on. So this episode, we're going to give you all kinds of details and take you through it and try to answer as many of those FAQs. We've all run it. And then TJ runs the race. So I'm going to let him kind of jump in and let's talk Prairie.
Yeah. So there's a couple things this year that I'd love to start off with. By this point in time, you guys have gotten a link sent to you via either text or email. And this is your runner bio. So if you haven't taken a look at that, please do. There's some really important things that it calls out. And this year, we're finally at a point, we love this race to feel like a family. You guys have been out there. We want everybody to feel like they're part of it. Everybody, by the time you're done, especially if you spend a lot of time on the prairie, you're going to know a lot of names that you didn't know before you got there. Everybody's treated the same. We have some phenomenal athletes on both sides of the fence, people coming out and doing their first marathon or ultra, people, this year targeting 200 miles. But when it comes to that link you got, we have gotten to a point where we've got to be a little bit more stringent and rigid. We didn't do a lot of this at registration this year because we didn't know what was going to happen. Last year we had 160 some runners start, I think, and we had 63 to 65, something like that, canopies on the prairie, so around that pavilion area. And if you were there last year, that was pretty busy.
Pretty full.
Not crazy over the top. Well, this year, by the time registration was done and we got a chance to look at the numbers, we had 185 canopies. As you can imagine, we've done some mapping pretty close to impossible. Like if every square inch is accounted for and we're putting things in, some questionable areas, we could probably make it work. So one of the main things you're going to see inside that link is your canopy status. This year, because we are getting to a point where we're overwhelming the campground, we will be doing load in phases. Okay, so your past performances, the number of times you've completed the prairie, and whether or not you're sharing a canopy or with a team will affect when you get to load in and in turn affect where you are relative to the corral. Now, nobody, regardless of where they're at, is going to need to walk more than probably 75 yards to the corral. So you're maybe talking about an extra 60 seconds. And as the field whittles down, you can feel free to move closer to the corral. But when you click in, you will first and foremost be faced with, okay, what is your camping setup? If you can camp with somebody, do it, especially if this is your first time. If you need help and want us to place you with somebody, we can do that. My contact information will be on that page you get. Click it and you can contact me. What that will do, so how this works is we have an elite tier. So our elite tier are runners who have finished every Prairie on Fire, which is 3 people, and our podium finishers from the year prior. And then tier A is anybody who has run over 100 miles on the prairie. Those 2 teams will load in on Thursday at, I believe, one begins at 4:30 and then can continue on to whenever. The next group will come in at 5:30, which is the tier A, and then tier B will be the last group to load in on Thursday. Those are the people on teams. So if you're affiliated with the team, or if you're sharing a canopy with somebody else. If you're neither one of those, you have not finished the prairie more than a single time, you will be in group D, C, D, or E, which load in on Friday. So if you're in the last group, you've never run prairie before, this is your first prairie, and you're not sharing with anybody, there is a high likelihood that you will be as far from the corral as anybody could be. So we encourage you to get on, share with somebody if you can. That will bump you from E to B and allow you to get a better placement. In that same breath, I'd like to call out that when you load in, we would like you to load in your hard goods. So we'd love for people to load in canopies. If you have tables, chairs, anything that can be left outside, we obviously suggest you try to secure your canopies. So if you're on a camping pad and you're with a team, use sandbags. If you're on the pavilion grass itself, use stakes. But we suggest you secure it. There will be people overnight watching your stuff. So that's a big thing. A second thing that you'll notice in there is details around parking. People will be loading in their gear Saturday morning. We'll open the gates at 5. Race starts at 8. Gear is perishable food, shoes, clothes, cooler, whatever, like things that you wouldn't leave out overnight in case it rained or whatever. That's going to be a process, right? You have 240 people this year versus 150, 160. We have a much more serious group this year, so there will be people bringing in a lot of gear. We're going to need to move through it quick. There will be no parking on site for crews or runners. Over the years, as you guys have probably seen, a lot of times what will happen is a crew will come last minute. They'll unload the canopy Saturday morning. They'll unload the gear Saturday morning. And then they'll just kind of saunter up and park on the grass and just kind of keep their car there. We can't do that this year. We're going to have double to triple the amount of people with crew, with family and friends. So crew and runners will need to park off-site. So you'll also see in that link information on parking. And then just, of course, general rules, frequently asked questions as it relates to the race itself. But those are super, super vital. You'll also see your past performance via that link. So there'll be a runner bio page alongside the page I just kind of referred to. It's going to show you any badges you've unlocked, coins you've earned over the years, total number of yards over the years. You'll be able to upload a picture. Those of you who have participated in the new shoe day activation, you'll be able to track your progress there. So I wanted to throw that out first, just as a disclaimer at the very, very beginning of this. I know that was a couple minutes of me talking, is that's extremely important as we go into this year to ensure that this goes smoothly.
Sounds like as the race continues to grow and you've kind of reached max capacity, there's been some challenges.
Yeah, there have been.
Well, let's talk about, I know with the group that puts on this race, there's always a desire to do something new or level up the experience in some fashion. Although I feel like last year and in years past, the experience people always rave about anyhow, but anything you can share that will be new or
Sure,
something people can look forward to this year.
Yeah, there's a couple things. So everything that you guys have experienced and or heard about in the past is coming back. And you know, it will try to make some of it different. But you know, there'll be a different special gift this year in the box alongside the shirt. We're going to have some different people on site. You know, last year we had Mike and Tyler, but they were kind of hidden. Those are the physical therapists. They will be available to utilize. So we'll have them there in a little more of a prominent location. Mount to Coast will be on site this year with demo shoes.
Wow.
They are you will see on the yard, number of people, especially our top performers out there, are in Mount to Coast. The H1 and the C1, but the H1 specifically is kind of built for this kind of thing because it's a hybrid shoe. You're going to see probably 25 to 30% of the field in those shoes. And, you know, in talking with the Mount to Coast team, they have been blown away by the number of people they've seen that have tried their shoes mid-race and like kept them on. So we'll have them there. We're working on curating that experience. The other thing that I think is extremely relevant to this is that there's going to be an element of the Dailey Edge present at the Prairie. This is the first year we're live streaming. And, you know, if you've watched any Backyard Ultra live streams, the last Soul Ultra finished recently, these two will be hosting. So, you know, I know they're a little nervous about how that's going to look because that's a really long broadcast. Those of you who watched last year's film with Angela Kumar, who's one of the women who finished 100 miles, she will be a correspondent in the field. So she's going to be talking to all of you out there, your crews, yourselves. These guys will be interviewing you when you're done potentially. And that, I guess that goes back to that link I talked about. There's some bio questions in there that these guys are going to need to really dive deep on you as a runner as they're kind of broadcasting throughout the day. So live broadcast is new. And then we are working on, and I'm going to say it, we'll figure it out, but we're also working on a potential new approach to timing. We're not quite sure if it's going to make it in time. We've got some testing to do, but there's that element as well.
So there's one thing I'd love for you to talk about, maybe in a little more detail. that is the first time at this event, which is a philanthropic angle, which I think is huge. Is I think a lot of people come to these events, and certainly there's a focus on setting personal records, building your own personal confidence, and entering into the ultra territory. That's always been like a whole theme for your races. This brings on a whole new dimension and a whole new level of motivation, which is really cool because there have been some studies done that talk about people's motivation a lot of times, if it's for someone else or beyond themselves, can extend themselves much further than if it's fully intrinsic. So why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, this came to be, and I mentioned it very briefly on another podcast, but this came to be for a number of reasons. We've developed a good relationship with New Shoe Day, and we love what they do in terms of providing shoes for children, and for anybody really. That they're the Indiana's only shoe bank, so providing that for the less fortunate and helping those kids build confidence. But to your point, where we really saw synergy was, I think there's maybe I'm wrong, but I think there's a duality here from a benefit perspective. Number one, we'll see how much of this is translated to the people receiving these, because I think, we've utilized commentary in the past. You had mentioned on a prior podcast about writing a check for something. It's like getting money for your birthday from somebody. It could have been like a last minute thing where there wasn't a lot of effort. I think for these kids, and maybe it won't be fully translated to them, but like somebody busted their ass to earn these shoes, because they believe in you. I'd love for that to be part of the messaging that goes out to them. But conversely, as a runner, we find, and you look at the data every year, there are 2 points in that race where people drop like flies because that intrinsic purpose they had just isn't cutting it. And so our goal this year was to put ourselves in a position where for every yard run, we're donating a pair of shoes. So when you go out there, and if you're going for 100 miles and it's mile 70, so you still have more than a marathon to go. There's no other major milestones. You just hit 100K. What am I doing this? Because it's going to happen. You guys have both experienced it, I'm sure. Why am I doing this? This is ridiculous. Like there's nothing to prove. Oh, wait, I know why. And then by the time, I'm going to go run 4 more. 4 pairs of shoes to kids. Like how dope is that? So we send emails out to everybody. Your link is also available in the link that I sent out to the people that are running the race. It has been incredibly successful already. I think we're at the point or close to the point where we've raised almost enough money to cover 1,000 yards. So we're continuing to work forward there. Our goal is to cover 4,000 because we believe we have a team that is strong enough to get there. So
how many yards was last year?
Let's just say
I should know this.
Probably,
being the analytics guy.
I think 1,600, somewhere in that 2,000, somewhere in that range, below 2,000, but above 1,500, I think. But again, we've got an extra 100 people. And I think, based on the caliber of field we have and the work people are putting in, I wouldn't be surprised. And I don't even think I'm jinxing anybody by saying this. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like 70 people over 100. I wouldn't. 50 to 70.
It's been exponential. The first year, 80 miles won it, then 88,
86 or 84, something like
and
that.
then the next year we had 7 hit 100.
Yeah. Jeff
And
won
then-
like 120 something. And then 20 plus.
Yeah, it was
23.
23 or 24, I thought, last year. It wouldn't shock me to see 50 plus.
Yeah, I think 50 to 70 is probably a really good, if the weather cooperates. Even if
Sure.
it doesn't, as long as it's not crazy hot. That's another fun fact. We just had a historic flood. I don't know if anybody saw pictures. Maybe we can have them throw up a picture up, but the water was about a foot below the roof of the pavilion.
Yeah. You didn't see that
kidding me?
picture?
No,
Look at this.
it's unbelievable.
It's insane.
While he pulls that up, something that I know is probably really important to all the listeners: food. For whether it's spectators or anyone going to be there, what type of food? Is it only available during meal hours? If you're there hanging out, you're going to be able to buy food. What's the food situation, and how long does it exist?
Yeah, so we are
That's the
We'll
pavilion.
throw that picture up on the screen. Send that tonight.
My gosh.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I drove by there today. It is completely receded. So it's gone.
Really?
Yeah. And that
Unbelievable.
This is just so you guys have, it's a couple day time span. But everybody's confident. But yeah, from a food perspective, we will have food on site again this year. We're looking to do food that is a little bit easier for us. Last year it was smoked meats, which, once it's gone, it's gone. You can't
Throw another hog on.
for 12 hours, like last minute.
Yeah.
So we will have a number of different things on site. We're looking at the easy foods, kind of like your cookout food. So burgers, dogs, something for the vegetarian, vegan crowd, probably a little bit of the smoked meats. They will be available.
Credit card, cash.
Yeah, credit card, cash, just like last year. Hopefully,
Is there breakfast? On
right now, yeah. But right now, we'll plan on like within, a 2 hour window, probably. Like potentially not all day. Maybe we'll have some snacks there. But funny thing is, we just started talking about that fairly recently with John, who runs all of that. And so
He
we'll
always
get that
puts
out.
on a great spread. I was just curious.
Yeah, there will be food on site for sure.
It's great.
Yeah, we'll also have, for anybody that participates in the new shoe day, we will be doing custom shirts with their names on the back. Every yard is a gift. And then, of course, as we did last year, we'll be printing shirts on site. We spent a lot more time this year on the designs. So there are some really clever designs that we're going to launch this year that will be on site. And we'll be utilizing the same partner that we utilize for the full mow. So, not necessarily this exact shirt, but like same quality of product. So you can expect some really good stuff out there this year for sure.
So let's talk just a little bit about performance. I mean, a lot of people have done this multiple times, but I think for some, and they're early or looking for tips and tricks to be able to get extra yards. Sounds like there'll be a little extra motivation, which is awesome. What are the common things that you hear from the people who finish at or near the top of the leaderboard every year?
Sure. Well, cool thing this year is it's wide open because our winner, Jeff Walker, who won Prairie in 2024 and 2025, has qualified for Worlds. So it's Team Worlds this year. So he'll be down at Biggs Backyard Ultra in October, running down there. Jeff won our race this last year and then went to Queenie, which is in Missouri, and won that silver ticket. I think ran 260 some miles. So a considerable number of yards, I think something like that, or 63 yards. I don't remember what it was, but it was a ton. So he won't be there this year. He'll be there running. He's going to do 50 to 70 miles kind of training as he gets ready for Biggs. So it's wide open from a winner's perspective. But I've had a lot of conversations with him along with some other people that have run these races. And I think there's a couple things, at this point you're listening to this, the hay's probably in the barn. You're not going to gain any fitness between now and then. So I think it's important to stay hydrated and stay fueled. And I think I say that in the context, especially with fueling, use what you have when you can, and don't abuse things. For instance, one of the big things we got from one of the guys who's gone very, very far. He's like, I don't use caffeine until night 2. Like, I'm not taking caffeine off the jump because I want to make sure that when I really need it, it's there. I would say that it could hold true potentially. Now, this is to each his own, right? I think there's nuance to everybody's approach, but I think that holds true with music, right? If you're going to listen to music, don't listen to it off the jump. You're going to have so many people out there to talk to. I think you guys can attest that, yes, it's going to hurt. It's 40 miles. And for some of you, that may not be in the cards or your goal. But if you're having a conversation every yard, you can make 40 miles go pretty quickly, right? So you utilize music potentially when you need to utilize it. Don't utilize it off the jump. That's what I kind of mean. Food is the same way. Start eating real food and eat it till you guys, you've been there, till you don't want to chew anymore. Like, I'm done chewing. My body doesn't want to digest solids. Okay, now let's switch to this or switch to that. If you've been practicing gels and your body can handle gels for 100 or 150 miles, whatever you want to do, or 80 or 60, use them. Do what you've been practicing. Don't change it last minute. You know, you can almost never take it too easy. I think that's another thing. One of the things I've heard from a lot of the guys that have done really well is, and gals alike, right? We have one of the most elite women's field. I say guys to include both men and women.
Is that a microaggression?
Huh?
Is that what they call those? A microaggression?
Yeah, right. Sorry. But, you know, I mean, Tammy's a great example, right? The walk breaks, like just dialed. Whether that's, you know, so we have some people that do it off of time. I'm going to run 3 minutes, walk 3 minutes. And you'd be surprised, and I think both of you know this, how much you can walk and still get through a lap with 10 minutes left. It's a pretty substantial amount. So whether it's timing, whether it's landmarks, whatever, you can never go too easy. You can, you know, I think one of the other things that I would say is just because you can finish in 57 minutes and turn around and go out early and continue to do that, I don't necessarily think, you know, that's always the best bet. Especially because if you run into a problem, as we know, problem solving is a major thing out here. You don't want to have to fix a blister in 90 seconds.
And I think there's something to be said too to mixing things up at times. I mean, if you're in a zone, stick to it, whatever works for you. But I know for me, running the same pace, the same cadence, the same impact for 15, 16 yards caught up with me. And so there were times where I mixed in a fast one or a walk run or whatever. I think that can really help mix up the impact.
Yeah, your mind's going to try to convince you. I mean, I was with Phil will appreciate this. He'll probably listen to this, but he ran a 12-hour race. Phil is again, one of the, he's finished Prairie all 5 times and he's a contender. We were running a 12-hour, and for you that don't know how timed runs work, whatever loop is part of it. So let's say it's a 2-mile loop that you run over and over and over again. You have to be able to finish the loop for the miles to count. So you can't typically in a timed run stop halfway and get a mile. And Phil and I came in, and he was close to being able to break a record. And his mind had convinced him that if he ran 8-minute miles, that he would destroy his training for the next 6 weeks. Like, and your mind's going to tell you that. And when you're out there running those same paces and you look down at your watch and what has felt like a 10:30 all day is a 12:30, it's like, oh no. And I know from personal experience as well as you do, you know, it's in there. Just stride out and go get it. You could probably, I mean, Jeff closes these in 7:30 pace. So like, I think you're absolutely right. People walk backwards, but the different muscle group engagements, I think, is a huge piece of the puzzle.
I went out and the first 10 laps or so, I was like, I'm going to find a new person to talk to. And so I found people that I'd never met before and got in different groups and just did life with people for like 10 laps. Some of the other things that I did with that were successful for me is my wife made stir fries, so like meats and rice and stuff, and put them in glass containers, and I had like 4 of them. I ate regular food the whole time, and I never had food issues. I eventually went out at 100K due to like chafing, but you know, you gave me really good advice on at some point in time, your legs are going to hurt, and so, but they're not going to hurt any worse. And you kind of told me that, you're like, it's not going to get any worse, and then it kind of went away, and then you just deal with these different nuances, and you got to be able to mentally get past every couple yards. There's going to be something else that comes your way, and then staying motivated. But enjoy the people, enjoy the time out there. You can always go further than you think you can, and fuel.
You got to eat. I mean, again, the top people are eating, you know, depending on body size, 400 to 600 calories an hour.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, that's a lot.
So
that's
I mean, you know, if you're eating clean, that's a full meal.
Yeah.
You know, hourly, and it's in
10 minutes or whatever you
got to be uncomfortably, like there were laps where I was uncomfortably full for a lap, and then I'd be fine.
That's a lot of times you can start. A lot of people start their next lap with a walk as they're still digesting,
or
food.
Just keep it with you. People on them, right? I've got my water on me, and I've got my food on me, and I'm kind of nibbling as I'm going.
I can't do bars and for like long periods of time. Me personally, like I will call those all supplements. Like I can't go off of peanut butter pretzels and bars and gels. I need like solid home cooked meals.
Yeah.
That's where I found the most success.
And that's what this all is, right? I mean, you guys have both run it. It's realizing there's always something on the other side, but it's solving all these problems. Like, I don't want to eat anymore. I don't want to, like, how do I get over this? I have to, or I'm not going to make it. I don't, whatever it is, it's blisters, it's chafing,
You'll lose some toenails. You'll have blisters. I don't care what you do.
This would be my semi-annual plug for mental game. Most of what we talked about here is physical. The race will be won or lost mentally. It'll be won or lost right up here. And I have had a ton of success with mental tapering going into events like this, like 2-3 days before, not doing intensive, exhausting mental things. That makes a huge difference when you hit walls. And then early on in the race, protecting your mental energy at all costs. I think that is just as important, if not more important, than a lot of the physical, because it will be your mind that stops you. Your mind will stop you before your body is unable to go. For the vast majority of people, there are some unique there's
a slider, right? Like, that's how I think of this mental picture that I draw. There's toughness and there's fitness. And your winners are probably going to be about here. We have seen some of the toughest of the tough, but if you're running 20 miles a week, you're probably going to end up, it seems to be the real breaking point is somewhere around 150 miles for those people. Like, but we've seen people go from nothing to 100 to 150, right? Or not running much.
And this may be for some people, and I'm a little more introverted. Talking to a different person each lap, that drains me mentally. And so, like, I would rather prefer to keep to myself a little bit, or maybe have some light conversation, or, maybe in and out. But if you're somebody who feels like you've got to be on when you're in a conversation, like over the course of 10 laps or 40 miles, you would be shocked at what that can do to your mental energy.
And it's funny you say that, because like Jeff loves to talk like you do. He loves to talk to people. Cam, he'll tell you that he thinks the reason he hasn't done well is because he's expending too much energy talking to people, because he's kind of like a celebrity at a race like that. So like you're absolutely right. There's definitely two sides to that coin.
Yeah, it can energize you if that's your personality, or it can.
The other interesting thing is, I've seen it work out, but I've had it not work out to where you have a plan to like stay with someone, like run your own race. There's been times where it's like, okay, we're going to stick together. And then arguably you guys are going to have different issues at different times. Just run your own race, have that understanding. This is about, obviously you have a team there, but this is about your own personal journey. So
unless you're Kristen and Tanya, you guys can run together. They run every step together. It seems like for the last 2 years.
That's great.
Absolute metronome watching those two run. It's unbelievable. They know each other backwards and forwards. Yeah, I mean, there was something else that kind of popped into my head as you were talking. I think one thing I want to say is I want the community to be proud of what they've come together to do. We are the largest in the country this year. Second largest in the world, to my knowledge, largest in the United States. I would assume that, and I'll have numbers when we get there day of, that we will have more yards completed for an event than any event ever before. Like accrued total number of yards. Last year we had more 100-milers than anybody. I think we'll do the same this year. So phenomenal group of people. I think another important thing to mention is that this year we will have a check-in process. So you will see QR codes when you get there. And there will be a couple different QR codes for different things. Most of it will be make sure you're checked in, because that puts you through hell last year.
Yeah, please just check in. You may be wondering why we spent 16 hours trying to figure out who was at the start line. As you might imagine, it's 150. You have people pick up their packets but didn't show up the next day or whatever. People maybe we didn't get something quite right when people were picking up the packets because they're picking up for multiple people or whatever. So if you check in, that's just going to help us tremendously from an analytics perspective.
And for those of you who haven't run, just to give you a reasoning behind that, we don't do bibs. We don't want you guys to have a bib on for 2 days or a day or whatever. And if it's raining or if you're switching clothes every, dozen yards, we don't want you to have to unpin and repin. So you're not wearing a bib. Again, I alluded earlier that we're potentially working on some timing stuff, so maybe we'll have that, but I would definitely check in via the QR code, and then we'll also have a QR code there for new shoe day donations and one for the live stream. We want to make sure we share that. At the same time, we talked about filling out your bio and that link you got. Also fill out your social media so that we can either shout you out or tag you if we clip some of these things up in the future. So those are some other big things that I wanted to call out. I want everybody, I think, not only our team, which now is so big, it's hard to mention everybody. Christy, Keegan, Corey, Angie, Dakota, you two, Ricardo, Phil helps, John. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. It's something that I think that everybody can be proud of being a part of a phenomenal ultra community in Indiana.
Hey, can you just for a second? I'm curious. You mentioned the bronze ticket, the silver ticket. What is? I know there's a process where you can kind of get upgraded as a race. Like, can you talk about what Prairie was when it first started, what it is now, and do you have goals for it to be?
Yeah, so we were recognized by Backyard Ultra, Laz, the Bigs team from the beginning, but I don't think we became a bronze until year 3. Our goal is to become a silver. If you win a silver, you get to go to Worlds. You get an at-large bid to Worlds. What that requires, and this is kind of anecdotal because I'm not in the room, but what it seems to require is a very high top end finish, and then all of the other things we discussed. I think if somebody this year goes 275 and we have 70 people finish 100 miles, plus all the exposure we have from a social media perspective, so many amazing people sharing all of our content out there, the films that John Kuhn has produced, and the stuff that he does for us on social, the stuff Christy does, et cetera, et cetera. I think with all of that collectively, we have a really strong case to become a silver ticket and be one of those championship races. Honestly, for those out here watching this, I have no problem stating this publicly. There are 4 to 5 backyard ultras in the world that I think could be a step above everything else out there. And that's no shade on any of the ones that exist, but I think that we have the community, we have the team, we have the facility. Hamilton County Parks is just a wonderful partner. Cicero Fire Department, like we have the medic side of things, like everything is so, we're so lucky to have all of that have come together that I think we have all the ingredients to be like a pinnacle event in this space globally.
So we talked logistics, we talked performance, talked philanthropic side. Any final things to add?
No, I mean, thank you everybody for the support. We're really going to be excited about your feedback this year. We have some new technology we're implementing this year, which is really cool. So runner tracking could be a little bit more accessible. That's a big thing. I'm kind of being a little coy around that and the timing because those are like in development right now. We're kind of getting to the end of that. We'll be testing that. But new back end tracking for friends and family at home. New front end stuff, as we've talked about from a bio and race information perspective. It's going to be a heck of a year, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody out there for a couple days on September 12th.
The last thing I will say is if you get done your laps really fast or when you finally finish the race, come and see me and Todd. We're going to be streaming for 30 some hours, probably over the however many days this goes. So we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to hear your story. We'd love to learn about everything about you. So please fill out those bios. Please drop by and see us so we can spend some time with you.
Heck yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
We'll see you out at Prairie. Thanks.